So, as you can see from these metrics, our vent efficiency is through the roof. Maximizing eliminations, that's the key.
The imposter cornered me in storage with a knife, but instead of killing me, they pulled out a business proposal printed on actual paper, which was somehow more terrifying. The document said, "Partnership opportunity. You fake tasks convincingly, I kill efficiently, we split the blame 50-50 and both survive," which was the worst business pitch I'd ever seen. I said this is insane, and Purple said, "Insane is working a corporate job in space for minimum wage. This is entrepreneurship," which unfortunately made sense. Purple showed me a PowerPoint presentation they'd made in Medbay titled Synergistic Solutions for Mutual Survival, with actual pie charts about kill distribution. Slide 3 was labeled Market Analysis, Current Survival Rate versus Projected Partnership ROI. And I realized the imposter had an MBA. I asked what my role would be, and Purple said Chief Alibi Officer with such corporate seriousness that I accidentally laughed, which they took as agreement. Purple gave me a company org chart showing me, them, and a position labeled Future Hires, Post-Genocide, which suggested long-term planning I wasn't comfortable with. We negotiated benefits. I asked for dental. Purple said, "We're in space and you're worried about teeth?" And I said exactly. No dentists for light years. Purple agreed to dental coverage and added plus unlimited vent access for commuting, which was the strangest employee benefit I'd ever been offered. I signed the partnership agreement with a pen Purple had definitely stolen from Orange, and we shook on it, which felt like making a deal with a very organized devil. Our first job was framing Green for a kill. Purple was about to do, and Purple gave me a headset saying for real-time coordination like a heist movie. I stood in electrical pretending to do wires while Purple killed Yellow in the next room, and through the headset they said, "Mark, clean kill, proceed to Phase 2. Phase 2 was me discovering the body and screaming convincingly, which Purple rated 7/10 through the headset saying, "Too theatrical, aim for genuine shock." At the meeting, I gave my rehearsed testimony. Purple nodded approvingly from across the table, and Green got voted out for a murder they didn't commit, which made me feel like a corporate sellout. Purple sent me a text through the tablet saying, "Excellent work, quarterly bonus approved," and I'd become an accessory to murder with employee benefits. Purple called a strategy meeting in storage and revealed Phase 3, franchise expansion, recruit Blue as junior partner, split becomes 33-33-33x. I said we're not recruiting more people into our murder startup, and Purple said, "It's not murder. It's aggressive resource reallocation," which was peak corporate doublespeak. Purple had created a mission statement to synergistically leverage core competencies in elimination while maintaining stakeholder trust, which sounded like every terrible company I'd worked for. We compromised. No recruitment, but we'd offer Cyan a consulting position, which meant they'd look the other way for a cut of future survival odds. Cyan accepted immediately and asked about stock options, which Purple actually had prepared in a folder labeled Employee Incentive Programs, Murder Edition. That's when we discovered Orange was also an imposter running their own operation, and Purple said, "We have competition, time for a hostile takeover." Purple scheduled a meeting with Orange and Cafeteria to discuss merger opportunities, which was code for threatening them into joining our organization. Orange pulled out their own business plan titled Solo Kill LLC, Why Partnerships Are for the Weak, and I realized we were in a corporate imposter turf war. Purple offered Orange a VP position, Orange countered with co-CEO demands, and I sat there watching two murderers negotiate like they were on Shark Tank. They settled on strategic alliance partners, which meant they'd coordinate kills but maintain separate operations, essentially a murder cartel with professional bylaws. Purple announced we were going public with an IPO, Impostor Partnership Optimization, and created shares that crew could buy for protection guarantees. Pink bought 30 shares, White bought 50, and they both got preferred survival status cards that Purple had laminated in Medbay. Blue asked what happens if they don't buy shares, and Purple said natural market forces will determine outcomes, which was a threat wrapped in economics. I'd gone from potential victim to CFO of a murder corporation that was now selling protection like a mob front, and my business degree was finally useful. Cyan, our consultant, suggested we offer a platinum package, Never Die plus access to Vent Network, and Purple loved it, calling it premium upselling. The crew called an emergency meeting to discuss the suspicious business everyone's involved in, and we had to present our operation as legitimate. Purple gave a presentation claiming we were running a cooperative survival optimization program and showed fake testimonials from satisfied customers who were definitely still alive. Green asked to see our business license, and Purple pulled out a document they'd clearly forged in admin with the card printer, dated and everything. White, who'd bought 50 shares, stood up and defended us, saying, "I've seen nothing but professional service because they were financially invested in our success." The crew voted to allow our business to continue operating under strict observation, which Purple celebrated as achieving regulatory compliance through lobbying. Purple called our first quarterly review in storage and presented metrics: 12 eliminations, 8 successful frames, 0 suspicions on core team, exceeding projections. Orange, our alliance partner, reported their numbers: 15 kills, 2 failed frames, 1 near exposure, and Purple said, "We need to discuss your quality control." I realized I was sitting in a business meeting where the products were murders and the KPIs were body counts, and I was taking notes. Purple unveiled Q4 goals: eliminate remaining unprotected crew, convert all survivors to shareholders, achieve 100% market penetration, which was dystopian capitalism. Cyan suggested offering a crew loyalty rewards program where survivors got points for not reporting suspicious activity, which was genius and horrible. I found myself alone in medbay at 3 a.m. ship time, staring at our profit loss statement which measured success in lives taken, and I had an existential breakdown. Pink approached me and whispered, "I know what you're doing. I want in. I can offer insider information on crew movements for equity stake." I realized we'd created a system where everyone was either a victim, a perpetrator, or a paid accomplice, and the impostor had successfully corporatized murder. Purple found me and said, "Having doubts? That's normal. Read Chapter 7 of the Employee Handbook, Managing Ethical Concerns in High-Pressure Industries." The handbook actually had a chapter on work-life murder balance with tips like, remember to take breaks between eliminations, and self-care is key to sustainable homicide. I told Purple I wanted out, and they pulled out a clause in our contract labeled non-compete agreement: employee may not survive independently for 12 months post-termination. I said you can't enforce a non-compete on staying alive, and Purple said our legal team would argue otherwise, while gesturing to Orange, who'd apparently gone to law school. We negotiated my departure. Purple demanded I train my replacement, and I spent a week teaching Cyan how to fake tasks and lie convincingly in meetings. My exit interview with Purple included questions like, "What could we have done to keep you complicit longer?" and "Would you recommend our murder organization to friends?" Purple gave me a severance package: guaranteed 48-hour head start before becoming eligible target, plus positive reference for future imposter partnerships. I survived the round by hiding in vents using my employee access, and at the victory screen, Purple sent a message: "Thanks for your service. Gave you 5 stars on LinkedIn." The next ship I joined, I found a business card in storage: Purple & Associates Survival Solutions, now franchising with a QR code for applications. Orange sent me a job offer: "Considering your experience, we'd like to offer you a position as Director of Strategic Eliminations, competitive salary, full benefits." I declined and started my own consulting firm, Ethical Crewmate Solutions, teaching crews how to spot corporate murder schemes, which Purple called brand disloyalty. Purple sued me for stealing proprietary knowledge of fraud techniques, and we ended up in space court, which apparently exists. The judge, who was Cyan, ruled in Purple's favor because they'd bought shares in Purple's company, proving the corruption went all the way up. I'm Red. I accidentally became CFO of a murder corporation, learned that imposters have MBAs, and discovered that capitalism works even in space crime. And if an imposter ever offers you a business partnership, Read the contract carefully because the fine print always says they can still kill you, just professionally. Purple's company went public last month, ticker symbol KILL, and I bought one share just to attend shareholder meetings and vote against their murder quotas. Bean-shaped astronauts only, no humans.